Hello, everyone. This is the Inner Voice Show, part of the Evolving Mind series in the Togetherness Media. I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine, a psychotherapist and the founder of Awareness Integration Theory. This is the show about what matters most in our life, our minds, our thoughts, feelings, actions, relationships, and our fulfillment in this beautiful journey of life. Today, I will share the tip of the week about ways you might communicate that leads to arguments and fights and how to become aware and shift. I'll share with you the biggest argument in marriages, which are over finances. And creating agreement and creating trust is the key. And I'll bring you Rob Schellenberger. Rob with Steve Schellenberger are founders of Becoming Your Best Global Leadership and are devoted to helping individuals and organizations achieve their maximum potential. Rob Schellenberger has trained and coached hundreds of companies around the world, including many Fortune 500 organizations in leadership planning and time management. Today, we will talk about their new book, Do What Matters Most, Lead with a Vision, Manage with a Plan, and Prioritize Your Time. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and podcast and connect with me through all of the social media, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, any of them. I'd love to hear from you. And I want to hear your comments and questions and maybe topics of interest so I can talk about them or bring the guests. But first, here's the tip of the week. Well, here's the tip of the week. This week, I have been noticing all the ways we communicate that assure the creation of an argument and then move along toward a fight. So, although no one is aware or volunteers to start or continue a fight, the way one begins the conversation, reacts throughout the conversation, or allows arguments to get escalated instead of information sharing or resolution is really being a part and creation of an argument. For some of you who have played tennis or ping pong, know when people are playing to enjoy the game, it's very different than when they only intend to win quickly as if they're in a tournament. An enjoyable interaction starts with a person who serves appropriately so that the playmate can catch the ball and send it back. The interactions will continue until the ball kind of falls in the middle and does not reach the other person, actually, pretty much unintentionally. Then they begin again with another set. It doesn't matter who loses, who wins. It's just a matter of the game. Once in a while, somebody wins, another person loses, and then vice versa. Now, in a win-lose competitive games, the hostile gesture starts from the first serve, and all of the interactions are toward making sure to angle the ball in a way that the opponent cannot get to it and therefore lose. For practicing, some even only play with the ball machine, which only throws a ball with no expectation of it playing mutually with another human being. It's just a ball throw. So observe the way you communicate. Which one of these are you? Do you communicate to exchange information, resolve a matter, co-create together, connect, learn, explore, or expand? Do you communicate to prove a point? I'm right. Win an argument or make sure that they know that you are right. Do you communicate to punish, reprimand, discipline, or protect yourself? Are you just interested in the talking portion? Are you just interested in talking, only talking? And not necessarily listening, just like the tennis ball machine just throws the balls, not interested in receiving or playing, right? So are you interested in the talking portion of the communication as if you are the tennis ball machine? Have you ever noticed your part in initiating, developing, or escalating an argument? Have you ever noticed your part in de-escalating or the resolution of a possible argument? Do you listen with the intention of understanding? Or do you listen just to answer back? Do you throw your emotions at others? Or do you observe, feel, own, and kind of like manage your emotions while you share yourself with others? The listening component of the communication with interest and curiosity is an important factor. Most people focus on what they want to say, but not how they intend to listen. Most also focus on the words they use and not the intention or emotion that is being expressed side by side with those words. You're responsible for the containment and management of your emotions as well as how they are expressed and delivered within a conversation. Many allow their raw emotions to be expressed within a conversation and hold the other person responsible for holding and containing or even taking care of their emotion. It is best to contain your emotion internally and then share your emotion verbally, such as, I'm sad right now about such and such. I'm really nervous and anxious about, what's going to happen. I'm really angry at you because I heard this or I saw such and such and it really made me angry with that. And this might support you not to react emotionally because the reaction would be actually throwing all the feeling at them, not sharing it with them. Remember, if you don't want to argue and intend to have an exchange of information or to get to some resolution, then monitor the way you keep bringing up kind of like the defensive position. Check your dialogue, check your body language, check the tonality. Is it always on a defensive way or an attacking way, accusatory way? Even if the other person is getting emotionally activated or getting escalated, you can still shift and hold the conversation into an opportunity to connect, learn, exchange information with listening, reassuring, clarifying, and clearly stating what your intention and desires are. For more information with observational skills and your communication style in different areas of your life, go to my workbook, Life Reset, the Awareness Integration Path to Create the Life You Want. And you can get that in Amazon. Thank you.
Togetherness Media. Togethernessmedia.com.
I have a lot of you asking questions, and thank you so much for sending me your question. Very appropriate about for this segment is actually a question that showed up is, what do we do when we argue about finances in our in our relationship, in our intimate relationship? Whether you are married or, in this case, the person says that they are engaged and they're living together, they want to know what do they do so that they don't constantly get into an argument. Well, it really depends on the philosophy and the management of the money, and maybe even the philosophy in management of the money. Some traditional relationships have come to some agreement where one person, usually the male partner, chooses to be the breadwinner and sometimes the management of the actual finances of the couple. Sometimes you'll see there's an agreement for one, maybe the male, or sometimes the female, to be the highest breadwinner, but the other person, maybe the wife or the husband, actually manages the money. And managing, what I mean is to really look at what are the bills, what are the expenses, how do they get paid every week, and then they can come together and start budgeting. Sometimes when they are engaged, they might still look at the modern marriages of having both parties contribute financially, regardless of who brings more money, and then they manage it together. Or sometimes they are very clear where we earn, we put it in a separate account, and each one of us will pay certain bills, and we don't have to ever merge this financial concept. Yeah, some people work for them. What I've noticed with most of the couples is that they actually have to come to an agreement. People usually don't talk about money. They feel shame, they feel embarrassed, they feel a little bit intimidated to start talking about finances. One is how much the other person actually makes. It's as if it's a secret. And when you're coming to be engaged, living together, or actually wanting to be married, obviously, especially if you're married, as far as the law is concerned, your finances are pretty much together. You're going to be responsible and accountable for your finances and probably your husband. So it's important for the two-person to come together and look at what is it that my philosophy is. What is it that I can come through and merge with the other person's philosophy? Come together with some agreement. There's some people who have businesses which they can't merge everything that they have in a business, but they can definitely come to terms with how much salary they're going to give themselves from the business and put it into an account together so they can see it, be aware of it, have the information, and move forward with budgeting. Information, transparency, having an open hand, being willing to give the other person the information is the key. It's important for us to create that type of a trust. When we sit together, two couples, and look at what is it that we bring, what is it that our expenses are like, how can we budget together, how can we honor each other's taste and what needs to be happening, how can we make it fair between the two of us. Whatever fairness looks like between the two people, and whatever fairness looks like within the agreement that they put together. Some of these things can also be cultural, where the culture itself, the culture of the marriage and their upbringing and their family of origin system kind of dictated to them what the culture of financial earning and management and responsibility and power be. And sometimes they'll go back and look at that and just kind of like bring the same format into their marriage. Again, if there's an agreement between the couple for a traditional way of a family structure to come in, great. As the point is how to get to that agreement. Many people feel powerless and the other person holds all the power. If the breadwinner is the one who holds all the power, the other person feels like I have to constantly go and beg the other person for money, or that my vote or what I need is not counted. And those are the times that resentments guilt build. After 30 years of working with couples, finances is one of the biggest issues of argument and biggest issue of non-trust, much more than infidelity. Finances are the biggest issues of non-trust between the couple. And you know, everything you do all day ultimately is going to come back to some sort of a financial decision together. So my suggestion is, if you can't come to an agreement, call a coach, call me, let me support you in creating that. If you can, on your own, sit down and write all of your expenses together as you live together, the most important ones that are happening every week, the most important ones that are not set, but you need it. And then you set up the priorities about how you're going to create your spreadsheet. Come back and look at it every month together, create budgets together, and you can move forward. This way you'll create trust, transparency, a sense of togetherness in decision-making and power. And that usually lessens all the arguments and creates the feeling of safety and security that comes and then fosters the trust and love. Thank you.
Togetherness Media. Togethernessmedia.com.